Hey guys, it's Michael. Welcome back to Michael in the Morning. Today is Monday, August 10th, 2020, and this is your second stimulus check and second stimulus package update. We have a lot of very important information to cover with the 4 executive orders that President Trump passed on Saturday, and also with the status of the second stimulus package negotiations. So in today's video, we're first going to go over how at least 97,000 children have tested positive for the virus in the last 2 weeks, and how this number has significantly increased since the start of the pandemic. Then we're going to get into how even though the White House administration was defending and supporting Trump's 4 executive actions, Mark Meadows spoke out in an interview yesterday and he was still saying how we need a second stimulus package passed by Congress. And then finally, we're going to get into good news on the second stimulus package and how they're continuing negotiations on it. We're going to cover some of the most important aspects that they're currently debating and what is holding them back. But before we get started, it would really mean a lot if you could like the video down below and subscribe to my channel so I can keep you updated on what happens with the second stimulus check and second stimulus package, as well as other news. Also, don't forget, you can still go ahead and get $5 immediately when you download the Acorns investment app and get 2 free stocks valued up to $1,400 when you download the Webull investing app using the link down below. Anyways, let's just jump right into it. At least 97,000 children in the United States tested positive for the virus in the last 2 weeks of July alone, according to a new report from the American Academy of Pediatrics and the Children's Hospital Association. The report says that at least 338,000 children have tested positive for the virus since the start of the pandemic. That means that more than a quarter of all cases in children happened in the last 2 weeks of July. The report comes as a lot of parents and educators are debating the challenges of reopening schools in person or online and what is going to happen with schools. In addition to this, the count could be even higher because the report does not include complete data from Texas and from parts of New York. And these are some of the states where we've seen the most amount of cases. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here, especially with schools set to reopen in the next couple of weeks. While the White House administration was defending and supporting President Trump's actions during all of the interviews on Sunday, Mark Meadows pointed out the flaws of only having these 4 executive actions in replace of a second stimulus package from Congress. For those of you who don't know, the 4 executive actions that Trump signed off and passed on Saturday were for 1, a payroll tax cut through the end of the year. The second was a $400 per week enhanced unemployment benefit payment. The third was eviction moratorium, and the fourth was for student loan forgiveness. On Sunday, Mark Meadows goes on to say that the downside of executive orders is you can't address some of the small business incidents that are there. He explained how you can't necessarily get people direct payments like the $1,200 stimulus check because it has to do with appropriations, and that's something that the president doesn't have the ability to do. So he said by passing only executive orders and not having a congressional stimulus package, you miss on those key areas. You miss on money for schools, you miss direct stimulus checks, and you also miss funding for state and local governments. Good news for a second stimulus package, though, is that Democrats criticized the executive actions on Sunday, saying that they were an executive overreach and warned that the nation's social safety net could be jeopardized. Nancy Pelosi said on Fox News Sunday that the president's meager, weak, and unconstitutional actions further demand that we have an agreement for a second stimulus bill. She, along with Chuck Schumer, urged officials to resume talks and seek a compromise on a broad relief package this week. A lot of people have been worried about a second stimulus package and that we would no longer receive $1,200 stimulus checks now that these executive actions pass. But according to Democratic leaders, they say it doesn't matter. We still need to have a second stimulus bill. On top of this, Steven Mnuchin spoke out late yesterday and he said, we both want to send more checks to the American workers, more direct stimulus checks like the $1,200 check. So they will continue negotiating on a second stimulus package. He explains how we want to send more payment protection program loans to those hardest hit businesses, and he goes on to say that we've said let's pass legislation on things we agree on one by one and knock these things off one at a time, but Democrats have not wanted to do this. He goes on to explain how the aspect holding them back right now is money for state and local governments because the Democrats refuse to pass a bill where they don't have a $1 trillion for state and local governments. Mnuchin explains how I think we've reached a compromise on the majority of issues right now and the things that actually really matter to the American people, such as the direct stimulus checks and other direct payments to the people. He says the things they haven't agreed on are things like money for state and local governments and other things that don't affect people directly, so they might as well pass a bill that helps the people out first and then worry about these other issues after. In an interview on Fox News Sunday, he goes on to explain how, although governors are asking for money, they don't need $1 trillion. He said, "I've spoke to many governors in a number of states over the last few days, and we've offered more money for states." He said they still have $150 billion from the last package, and he says they don't need $1 trillion. He goes on to say that the president said we'll give states money, but we're not going to be giving them $1 trillion. So right now, that is the main holdup between Democrats and Republicans. They agree that we need direct stimulus checks. They agree on a number of other major issues. They simply don't agree on this funding for state and local governments. So anyways, that is just a quick update on what is going on today on Monday, August 10th, 2020. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to get your 2 free stocks valued up to $1,400 when you download the Webull investing app using the link down below, and get $5 immediately when you download the Acorns investment app as well. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like the video down below, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.